Who? 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 Oh, hey guys. Sorry about that. Welcome back to the Boston Chris podcast. And if you're new, I would love to earn your subscription or follow with this brand new episode of the Boston Chris Show featuring hit songwriter David Gibson. Dave Gibson is here on the show today. So stoked to chat with him. Let me tell you a little bit more about David. David Lowell Gibson is an iconic figure in American country music, renowned for his exceptional songwriting talent. Gibson's songs, characterized by their soulful lyrics and enchanting melodies, have been performed by some of the biggest names in the industry, including Alabama, Tanya Tucker, Montgomery Gentry, Conway Twitty, Pam Tillis, Steve Wariner, and many others. Born in El Dorado, Arkansas, and raised in Odessa, Texas, Gibson's roots in the heartland of America played a significant role in shaping his musical style. His journey to the hub of country music, Nashville, Tennessee, began in 1982. This marked a turning point in his career as he was soon to leave an indelible imprint on the country music scene. In Nashville, Dave held a publishing contract with a company owned by the Oak Ridge Boys. His songwriting prowess quickly caught the attention of prominent artists and led to collaborations that produced many chart-topping country hits. From 1990 to 1994, Gibson showcased his musical versatility as the frontman of the Gibson Miller Band. Not only did he captivate audiences with his soulful voice, but he also penned many of the band's hits, including High Rollin', Texas Tattoo, Red, White, and Blue Collar, and Stone Cold Country. He received the ACM Award for Best New Group in 1993. He's also won 6 BMI Awards, 2 NSAI Awards, and was nominated for a Grammy. But for him, this is just the beginning. Gibson's portfolio of written songs is nothing short of impressive. His notable works include Alabama's Jukebox In My Mind, Tanya Tucker's If It Don't Come Easy, and Confederate Railroad's Queen of Memphis, and Daddy Never Was the Cadillac Kind. Now, Gibson's songs have a unique ability to resonate with listeners, often exploring themes of love, loss, and the quintessential country lifestyle. Among his contributions to the country music scene, Gibson also co-wrote Joe Diffie's huge hit Ships That Don't Come In, Pam Tillis's Do You Know Where Your Man Is, and Conway Twitty's House on Old Lonesome Road. His collaboration with Montgomery Gentry resulted in the hit song Lonely and Gone, which further demonstrated his knack for creating deeply emotional and relatable music. Whether on an intimate stage or in front of a roaring crowd, his magnetic stage presence and powerful voice command attention, creating an unforgettable experience for audiences. Dave's genuine passion for music shines through every note, and his ability to connect with listeners on a personal level has made him a beloved performer. Over his more than 40-year career, his contributions to country music have left an indelible legacy and influenced countless aspiring songwriters all through the power of a song. He is a force to be reckoned with in the world of country music. As we celebrate his contributions to country music, we look forward to the beautiful melodies and compelling stories that are yet to come from this gifted songwriter. Guys, Dave Gibson is here on the Boston Chris Show today, and if you're enjoying the episode at any point, please hit that like button. You can, of course, hit the subscribe or follow button to see more in-depth, candid conversations like this one here. And without any further ado, let's get into it with the one and the frickin' only Dave Gibson.
It's Megan Barker. Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Guys, it's Dave Gibson week here on the Boston Chris podcast, and man, what a treat this is, because, man, Dave, I'm such a huge fan of you and your writing and your just being a recording artist and the career you've led. Man, what a life you've had, huh?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy, man. Sure has.
So we're known as
Oh,
a show that loves to tell the stories behind the songs and the songwriters who wrote them. So I would love to start off by kind of picking your brain about ships that don't come in. Can you kind of give us the story behind the song and take us into the room as it was written?
yeah, that song would not have come about unless I had told my co-writer Paul Nelson, and I said, "Look, Paul, we were writing another song, and I said, man, I'm not really into this song. I know you got another idea in that book of yours." And I said, I want to write an award-winning song today." And so he reluctantly pulled that title out, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" And for the good Lord above, I mean, he just said, "Okay, here's the chords," and I started playing these chords, and in about 2.5 hours, Paul and I wrote "Ships That Don't Come In," and I that song has changed my life. Changed. Joe told me that it changed his career, changed his whole outlook. He first of all, when they found the song, his producer Bob Montgomery found the song. It was he found it by accident on a CD, or with a bunch of other songs, and he played it for Joe, and Joe said, "Man, that's a heavy, heavy lyric."
Yeah.
He says, "I don't know if that's me or not." And Bob said, "Look, um, Joe, go in there and sing it one time, just with the guitar. And if you don't want to do it, we won't record it." And Joe came out after he sang it. He says, "Hell yeah!" He says, "This is this is awesome." He says, "We're doing this song. We're absolutely doing this song." And believe me, Chris, I no one could have ever sang it any better than Joe
You
Diffie.
know, I was just gonna say, man, you get these perfect marriages between song and artist, right? And I feel like this is one of those examples of marrying the song with the perfect artist. I know, we have the gift of retrospect and can kind of, hear and see the way things worked out, and maybe that kind of shoot some bias for us. But it'd be almost impossible to hear somebody else on this song, wouldn't it?
Well, it would. It's just one of those songs that. Now, I will just say this: um, the last song Toby Keith ever recorded was "Ships That Don't Come In."
Yeah.
He and Luke Combs are on the Joe Diffie diff tape, the diff tape, volume 3. And when I saw that last year, when they came out with that record, it blew my mind. I said, "Damn, Toby, you really did it. You really did it justice." And so did Luke, and they were singing with Joe, and those tracks were cut back in 2016.
Wow.
Um, uh, Lonnie Wilson, who actually played on every hit Joe ever had, re-recorded all of Joe's hits, and there was supposed to be an album called the Green Vinyl Record, that which never came out. And but after all these years, 30 years plus, Lonnie called me up and told me that the Joey Moy, who was doing the production on the project, wanted to know if he could find the tracks that he cut on Joe, and those are the tracks that they
Wow.
use. And Joey did some sweetening on them and everything. But I'll tell you, it just was mind blowing that happened. And but Joe, still, there's nobody that can sing it better.
Yeah, and I feel like the song really kind of, you mentioned how Joe was maybe a little bit averse to recording it, and I think it was because a lot of Joe's stuff at the time was more up tempo and pick up man and prop me up and
Yeah.
songs like that, and this really didn't fit the brand all that well at the time. But man, this song kind of changed the transition of Joe's career and kind of opened up a whole new toolbox for him, I think, right?
It really did. They were kind of calling him Madiddy Diffie back in
Right.
the
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
And as great a singer as he was, that was just an insult to him. But and the songs were what made him, and those songs are great. I love those songs.
Yeah, same.
But Joe just had the guts, um, in spite of a word in a song that no one had ever put into a country song before. And when Paul and I wrote it, I was writing at Maypop at the time, Alabama's company,
Hmm.
and when Paul and I wrote it, after we got through with this, we were like stunned. It's like, we're probably never going to get this song cut because of that one word we used in there, bitch about a dollar.
That was so good.
And
Yeah.
and Alabama had it. They took it in the studio. I pitched it to Tony Brown for the Oak Ridge Boys at MCA. A lot of people they turned it down, and it was because of that word. And it wasn't a bad word. It was just telling the truth.
I think the word was needed, Dave, because of the importance of the song, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're not going to complain about a dollar. You're going to bitch about a dollar. This is bad stuff, man. This is really, really
Right.
bad. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
we think about this 30 years later where everybody's using words like that. But back then, that was really risque as a songwriter to try to get A&R and song pluggers to send it to folks, right?
It was. I mean, in fact, Joe and Joe and our band, we were on the label at the same time on Sony on Epic, and I never will forget. There were two or three radio stations that would not play the
Mm-hmm.
record because of the word bitch.
Yeah.
And so, Jack Laymeyer, the head of promotion, brought me in one afternoon. He says, "Let me tell you something, son. Here's a toast." 'Cause he had a little his room. He had on Fridays. We'd look at all the numbers for the next week. Where our
Sure.
song was going to be. And he said, "Let me tell you something. Here's a glass of Jack Daniels because it was Jack's place, and he always had Jack Daniels on Fridays." And so he said, "We we went number one without them SOBs."
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I love that so much. I wonder what the song would do today without those restrictions. You know what I mean? Just
I mean, we had so much. I mean, actually, Toby Keith and Luke's version of the song got so many millions of
yeah.
streams, and it was just such a compliment for me to this day and time to
Hmm.
have a song. A great song is a great song is a great
And it
song.
still resonates. You wrote something that matters no matter the time or age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't ever say my songs are great. I never do that. But that one right there, and everybody tells me that's my watermark
Hmm.
in this town. Everybody respects me for that song. And I mean, I've written some other songs that I love and had hits with, but Ships That Don't Come In is absolutely the cream, the cherry on the top of my career.
Completely agree, and it's a great tune, an iconic chorus, in my opinion. Just a great song. I was listening to it on repeat last night just to kind of refresh my memory and stuff, and just awesome stuff. Thanks for telling the story.
I can tell you had a tough life by the way you sat and stared. Me, I kind of push a chair, so I pulled up a chair. We talked of roads untraveled, and we talked of loves untrue, of strings that come unraveled. We were kings and kindred fools. And just when night hit bottom, that old man raised his glass, said, "At least we've had our chances, as those have never had. So here's to all the soldiers locked up in themselves, the homeless down on Main, to those that stand on empty shores and spit against the wind, and those who wait forever for ships that don't come in. He said it's only life's illusions that bring us to this bar, to pick up these old crutches, compare each other's scars. The things we're calling heartaches, hell, they're hardly worth our time. You know, we bitch about $1, there's those without a dime. And as he ordered one last round, he said, I guess we can't complain. God made life a gamble, and we're still in the game. So here's to all the soldiers who have ever died in vain, the insane locked up in themselves, the homeless down on Main, to those who stand on empty shores and spit against the wind, and those who wait forever for ships that don't come in, the ones who wait forever for ships that don't come in.
Man, you were born in Arkansas, right? Moved to Texas at a really young age.
Yeah.
Odessa,
Yeah.
right? So what's it like in Odessa
Right.
growing up as a young kid?
Oh man, Odessa was I call it God's forsaken country. The only reason people I think would live out there is because of one thing, and that is the black stuff.
Yeah, oil.
The
Yeah.
And so when I was growing up, we lived in the roughneck town. Midland was where all the executives lived, all the people with money.
Yeah.
But it was a rough town, boy. Let me tell you something. But the coolest part about growing up out there was all the great music that was being recorded. Buddy Holly in Lubbock. Roy Orbison had a little three-piece combo that we used to watch him on a screen about this big, on black and white TV. And he used to drive around town in a pink Cadillac with pink and black interior, and he always wore pink and black clothes. And we just thought he was the coolest thing in the world. It's like he was something, man.
So you're growing up around these iconic artists. Did they really influence you to get into the business? Is that how it started for you?
I'll tell you how it all started. My my dad, nobody hardly knows this, but a few people do, and close friends of mine. And I tell the story that my dad and mom had divorced in Arkansas, and we lived out there in Texas for 10 years. And I hardly knew my dad. He was a pipeline foreman in El Dorado, actually in Oil Town too. And that's another story. But he he would come every now and then on Christmas or send a box from Lion. He worked for Lion Oil, which was eventually bought out by Monsanto. But my dad came back and asked my mom to remarry him after 10 years, and I was just graduating the 7th grade.
Wow.
And there was I don't know where it came from. Nobody seems to know. My sister, my mom. She's passed on now, but I asked her one time, I said, where did that guitar come from that was in the closet that I got out and started to learn to play? And when my dad came back and asked my mom to remarry him and take us back to Arkansas, he saw me trying to learn to play that guitar, and he said, "What are you doing with that guitar, boy?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to learn to play." He said, "No, you're not." He said, That ain't happening. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to get a sheepskin on the wall." The sheepskin is they still put them on there in
Yeah.
diploma. And so anyway, when we got to Arkansas, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I want this guitar right here, the one with the amp and the case. I want that Silvertone guitar. And she bought me a better one. She bought me a three pickup black with white binding and a huge amp. And we didn't tell my dad because he had told her not to buy me no guitar.
Yeah.
So one day he comes home and early, and I'm in my room practicing that guitar and playing, trying to learn how to play Ghost Riders in the Sky with Dwayne Eddy song. And he comes in there. He says to my mom, I thought I told you not to buy that boy no guitar. And she got in his face, which I never have seen my mom do. She said, you leave him alone.
Wow, that's amazing.
My dad stormed out of the house. But he finally got it. We only got to live with him for 5 years, and he passed away in my senior year in high school. And he finally got it. He went out one day and he bought this little Sony recorder with a little microphone, one of the first reel-to-reel decks, and he brought it in there. And I had a little trio in high school, and we're up there playing in the house. We're rehearsing, and he brings it in. He says, I bought this just put our voices on, for posterity. And I said, I didn't even know my dad knew that word.
You converted your dad, Dave. Congratulations, man. Converted him right into the music business. Gotta love it.
I'm telling you, Chris, it was like, okay. He's trying to get this thing to work. My dad was a genius at fixing or making anything.
Yeah.
He was a master mechanic, but he couldn't get this thing to work quite right. And so me and my buddies go over and said, well, it goes like this here. And we get it going. And he said, why don't you boys get over there and play a little bit, And that was the way my dad said it was okay,
Good
which
stuff.
is pretty dang cool.
So you started this.
I didn't realize that.
So you started this trio in high school. What's it look like when you graduate musically? Like, are you guys playing out? Are you gigging? Like, what's it look like initially when you're basically an adult now?
Well, back in the day, we were playing Civitan clubs or Kiwanis Club, and my dad, his friends, I'm sure they were asking him, "Is that your son that's playing on?" And that's he was a gruff old some bitch, but he was a good-hearted man. And today, I look back on that, and it's like, I'm really learned to play guitar, and the guys in my trio, they said, well, you don't. I had that electric guitar, so I went and sold it and bought an acoustic guitar, and they said, well, you really don't need to play, you can just sing. And I looked at them, I said, well, that means if I'm going to play anywhere by myself, I got to have you with me to play the damn songs.
That's right.
And said, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Economically.
So
that's the economics lesson, right?
right.
If I go by myself, I get all the money. If I bring you with me, I gotta split it. That's right. So, Dave, what's it look like for you as a songwriter? Like, what's the inspiration to start writing for you at first?
You know something? I'll tell you exactly how it happened. After college, and I did get that sheepskin on the wall like my dad wanted me
You
to.
sure did. I read that.
And so when I moved to Chicago, I thought I wanted to be a commercial artist, which I did for a while, but that didn't work out for me. And I ended up playing music and teaching school for 4 years. That kept me out of Vietnam. They needed male teachers in Chicago, and I was probably one of the luckiest guys in the world to not have to, go over to Vietnam. But I just I'm rambling here. You asked me
The
a question.
inspiration to become a
Yeah.
songwriter, essentially.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was playing just me and the guitar at a club called the Back Room on Rush Street in Chicago, and there was a jazz piano player upstairs, and he could play anything, sing anything. He had a great voice, and he wrote all these songs. And I used to play the happy hour, and he was playing the evening. And one day he comes to me and he says, he says, I really like your voice. He says, have you ever written a song? And I said, Not really. I was doing everybody else's songs,
Mm-hmm.
Gordon Lightfoot, James Taylor, all the songs that were happening back in the day. And he says, well, would you like to try? And I said, well, yeah, I would. He said, I got a poem. Why don't you try to put a melody to it? And so I did, brought it back to him. And he says, I love this. He says, you got some talent for writing. And so I said, yeah, you know something? I think I do. And I started writing my own songs. So his name was Don Drumm. And I actually wrote a song that I didn't really realize it was about him, but his career started out in New York City. And this one song of mine I wrote a couple of years ago called New York City Blues. And Don's still alive, and I sent it to him down in Florida. And he said, man, he said, you wrote my life. You absolutely wrote my life.
I love that so much. So, Dave, as you're writing, and even today, like as the career of your writing goes, has it always been more melodic or more lyrical in structure for you? Do you have a strength and a weakness when it comes to writing songs?
My whole philosophy of writing songs is one thing. The rule is there ain't no
I
rules.
love it.
I I come up with ideas out of nowhere. I hear people say things that I write down, and I write those songs. I write songs from guitar licks like Queen of Memphis. I wrote that song, first verse and chorus from that little guitar lick. And Midnight Fire was an idea that I had. That was my first hit with Steve Wariner
Yeah.
back in the day in '83. But and Jukebox in My Mind was the biggest song monetarily I have ever had in my career. It's the gift that keeps on giving, and believe me, I got a story behind that song.
Please, I'm all ears. Let's hear it. Jukebox in my mind. What's
Well,
the story?
all right. Well, I was writing for Maypop at the time, and Teddy Gentry, the bass player, was coming in from Fort Payne, and so he was in this big white Mercedes coming coming to town, and coming to town, he hit the damn thing broke down on him. And in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out an idea for a song, and this popped into my head, and I wrote down the two lines and had a melody to it. And since Teddy wasn't going to be there, I just walked next door and I said, "Hey, Ronnie." It's Ronnie Rogers who wrote Dixieland Delight
Yep.
and a ton of other hits. I said, Ronnie, what do you think of this idea? And I played it for him, and he just like, holy shit, that's awesome. He says, we're gonna write that. I said, well, Teddy's coming. He said, well, he can get in on it when he comes. 2 hours later, Teddy walks in the door and he says, I'm so pissed off. That damn Mercedes, I'm gonna sell that piece of crap. I'm selling it. What y'all boys been working on? We playing the song, and he goes like, that's Alabama's next single.
Yeah.
And Ronnie and I are looking like he's from another planet. This is there ain't no way in hell that Alabama's going to cut a song in this country. He says, you don't understand. He says, the radio guys are saying that Alabama's not country. We're pop, we're Southern rock, anything but country.
Mm-hmm.
And Randy Owen is pissed off. He says, you find me a song and I'll show him what a country singer is. Well, we cut a little demo on it. Ronnie, I mean, Teddy runs the song back down to Fort Payne, and Randy's in the sauna. He waits for him 15 minutes, and Randy comes out. He says, "What the hell are you doing here?" He said, "I thought you were in Nashville writing." He says, "Forget that. Forget. I want you to hear this song. You got to hear this song." He says, "Okay, put it in the player." He plays the song, and Randy doesn't say a word. And Teddy says, "Well, man, this is the song we're looking for. This is it. This is it." And Randy goes, "Well, it ain't really my kind of song, but I'd be a damn fool to turn a number one hit down."
Amazing stuff, man. Pulled him out of the
And thank you,
sauna.
Randy Owen.
Yeah, pulled him out of the sauna. Good stuff, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. I went down this past year to the Fan Appreciation Day, and Randy Owen comes up to me, and when I'm walking on stage, he says, "Let me show you your seat over here, son. It's right here at the end." He says, "You got the seat of honor, the guy that wrote Alabama's biggest song, 4 weeks at number
Yeah.
one." And the most country thing that they ever recorded.
Yeah, that's a huge thing even today. But back then, to have a multi-week number one it's just so unheard of. To go 4 weeks is legendary. I mean, there's no other word for it.
Especially as country as it was,
Yeah.
but it blew everybody's mind that their Randy Owen was singing the crap out of this song, and it was country as dirt. And Josh Leo, who produced that record, he always tells me, he says, "Man, so that's the gift that keeps on giving." And I said,
Well, it
"Yes,
definitely
sir,
proved
it
their
certainly
point
is."
that they weren't just a crossover, right? It definitely proved the point.
It did.
Yeah, I think that was the point of it all. So, like, 82, you moved to Nashville. Was it initially, because I know how much performing has always been kind of your main passion as an artist. Was the initial reason to go to Nashville to become an artist, or was it to become a songwriter?
Well, I always say this. I came to Nashville as a singer-songwriter and ended up a songwriter-singer for 10 years. When I came here, I met a guy. I sat up in my van for about 2 months, and I had an old Ford van with the mirrors falling through the sides on it and all my stuff in it. I was on 16th Avenue and nobody stole anything. I still can't believe that. But I walked into this guy's office at RCA. His name's Tony Brown. He's a legendary. He just went into the Hall of Fame as a producer, legendary
I
producer.
love
Steve
Tony.
Earle.
Yeah.
I mean, Reba McEntire, George Strait. I mean, you name it, he's done it.
Yep.
And he believed in me. I played him 2 songs. I walked into his office. And I had this big hat on, a black hat, and in fact, I've still got it. It's up there on the horns. I walked into his office and I had this big belt buckle and a leather jacket, and he looks at me. He said, "Well, come on in here." He said, "Play me some songs." And I played him 2 songs. And he says, "That's a hit. That's a hit right there." He says, I really like your voice." He says, "I'm going to take you in the studio next week." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
What are you? Okay. Well, my God, he did it. He did it. He took me into David Briggs' studio, the House of David, and cut those 2 songs on me and tried to get me a deal at RCA with Joe Galante. And Joe Galante said, "Well, he sounds kind of like Steve Warner," and which pissed Tony off to no end. He said, "You don't sound like Steve Warner. He just wants me to cut an album on Steve." And he says, "You need to write me a song." And he had introduced me to Louis Anderson, and Louis was an established writer at the time. First song really, well, not the first one, but pretty much maybe the third or fourth song I ever wrote with anybody, co-wrote with anybody, because the first 2 songs that Tony heard of mine were all solo written. But in 3 months' time, that song was written and demoed and recorded and became the first single and the title of the album and went to number 5. Changed my life forever.
Yeah.
I mean, just like ships that don't come in did, you know.
Man, Dave, I appreciate you being
So,
here. We don't have much time with him, and I do want to do our fun segments. But Dave, I would love to have a part 2 with you in the future if you're down for that.
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime, brother.
All right, cool. So
I'm here.
well, we're gonna play by the numbers with Dave Gibson. This is a lot of fun, and so we kind of cut these up and use them as social media clips to get buzz for the episode. But yeah, in the future, I would love to chat with you about stuff like being with Silverline Music, the Gibson Miller Band, your publishing company, Savannah Music Group, which we're also going to put a link in the description below for that. I know how important that is
cool.
to you. So yeah, I would love to chat about kind of those things too in the future, if like I said. And but anyway, let's play by the numbers with Dave Gibson. You'll kind of see why we call it by the numbers as we go through this. The first one is called Rapid Fire, Dave, and this is 7 quick questions. And you have 90 seconds to answer these questions, and if you don't, you will spontaneously combust. All right?
Okay.
So here we go. Rapid fire with Dave Gibson. Number 1, what is your current song obsession?
Song obsession. Well, one song that I've written that I love the most of anything is Ain't No Looking Back. Wrote that a couple of years ago. I've been trying to get Willie to cut it, but I'm going to be putting it out myself.
Okay, and what is something people may not know about Dave Gibson?
Well, let's see. Well, one thing is that I play tennis.
Really? Very cool. Okay. What
I do.
What is one thing that is not fun about the music business?
Well, the way our money's gone down, and the what we get paid for a stream, and you only really can make big money, I mean, on terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Next one is in all of history, where is a place you would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for?
Oh man. Good Lord.
Spontaneously combust, Dave. Clock is ticking.
Yeah. Well, did we combust?
Not yet.
Oh, I Hope You Dance. I just played a show with Tia Sellers.
Tia Sellers.
She's,
she's amazing.
yes.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, I love her.
What is your personal best accomplishment?
I think being a good dad.
That's a great answer.
And a good,
Yeah,
grandpa.
I agree. All right, what is one thing that is still on your bucket list?
Oh, have another number one hit.
All right, and last one, what is the biggest lesson you've learned directly from music?
Just to relax and let things go. That's the main thing that I've learned in life, I think.
All right, I think we might have come in just under the wire. Good job, Dave. All right, by the numbers for the number 6 is called What the Heck? These are 6 kind of wacky questions I randomly draw before the interview. So I did not choose these. The complete fate chose these questions for you. Number 1, Dave, what is your weirdest talent?
Weirdest talent? Voices.
Okay.
I can do all kinds of voices.
All right. Number 2, what is your go-to pizza order?
Oh, Supreme. Absolutely.
Very cool. Number 3, which song do you wish you had written?
Oh, my Lord. Chiseled in Stone.
Vern Gosdin. Heck yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Great tune. All right. Number 4, what is your best curse word alternative?
I don't think I have.
All right. Number 5, Dave, why do we say take a crap instead of leave a crap?
I don't quite understand what you. I don't.
Well, like when we use the restroom, we say take a crap.
Oh,
but we're actually leaving a crap. So why don't we say I'm going to leave a crap?
Well, I think I'm going to the bathroom and take one.
Just put it on a leash, right? All right, number 6. Right. What happens if you die in your dream, do you think?
Oh, listen, I go somewhere. Hopefully, it's where I think Jesus said we were going to go. I go to prepare a place for you. If it were not so, I would have told you.
Very cool. All right, by the numbers for the number 5. I can't wait to hear your answer for this. This is called Top 5, Dave. What are your top 5 favorite songs that you have written or co-written?
Top 5 favorite songs. Well, obviously, Ships That Don't Come In, Jukebox In My Mind, Queen of Memphis, Daddy Never Was the Cadillac Kind.
Bernie Nelson.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
right. Me and Bernie. Yeah. um, um, uh, let's see. Steve Warner, Midnight Fire, my first hit.
All right, that's 5.
Uh,
Good job. That's a hard question, man. All right, by the numbers for the number 4 is called Mount Rushmore. Who is on Dave Gibson's Mount Rushmore of best songwriters in history?
oh, wow. Um, Man, that's a tough one. Chris Christopherson, country, Paul Simon, pop, or
Yeah. Everything else.
what you want to talk about?
Yeah. 2 more.
Yes. Oh, 2 more?
Yeah.
James Taylor. Um, God, Merle Haggard.
Wow, a very good list there, Dave. All right, by the numbers for the number 3 is my favorite segment every week. It's called Impactful. Who are 3 people that impacted your life in some way? And then tell us the number 1 thing you've learned from each of those folks.
Well, the first guy that ever asked me that if I could write a song, Don Drumm. The second guy is Tony Brown, who started everything for me in 1982. Um, Doug Johnson, who gave me a shot at being an artist. He put his ass on the line for me and Blue Miller. And is that it, or
Yeah,
has I
that's
got
good.
one more?
Yep. All right, by the numbers for the number 2 is called Gratitude. What are the 2 things you are most grateful for?
I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful to wake up on the green side of the grass every single day.
Great answer. All right, last one for by the numbers is called One Artist. Who is one artist you wish the whole world knew about, or songwriter?
Oh, wow. Oh, man. That's a toughie.
Indeed.
Oh, my buddy Jack Williams.
Is that H. Jack Williams?
That's H. Jack
Man, I
Williams.
love Jack, dude. He is such a cool cat.
Well, he's living with me right now.
Is he really?
Hell yeah.
Well, tell him I said
mean,
hi, please.
Yeah, I sure will, man.
Man, small world. I had no idea y'all were chilling together, man. That's what's up, man. I love Jack. He's such a cool guy.
Oh, he is, and it's one of the most talented songwriters
Man,
I've ever known.
just a unique dude, right? Like with what he
Yeah,
does, man. I'll tell you
and
what.
he's one hell of a chef too. He is a 5-star chef.
Yeah, we interviewed him, and it was food and music for him growing up. It was like just one or the other was taking his. Yeah, man. I can see why you have him in the crib, right? Like, hey, man, you can cook. You're welcome here anytime, my friend.
Right.
Man,
That's a damn.
yeah.
Put some pounds on me.
Hell
Jack.
yeah, that's what's up, man. All right, cool. So last segment is called "Who Do You Think You Are?" So who is Dave Gibson?
Well, I've kind of figured that out here in my last divorce was in officially in 2014, and I've been on my own ever since and had a few relationships. But you know something, I've learned to like myself. I like myself, and if you don't love yourself, nobody else can love you. And that's what I think I've learned. If I've learned anything, if I'm not learning something every day, then I might as well just be checking out of here.
That's just a great answer, Dave. And man, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to let folks know where they can follow along with you. It's Dave Gibson Songwriter.com. We're going to put a link in the description below for that. And you can also find a link in the description below for Savannah Music Group as well, which is Dave's label and publishing company, named after his daughter, by the way. But we're going to chat about that in a future episode. Dave, what do you got going on right now? What's new coming up?
Well, I'm playing all these festivals. Coming up in April, we're going to play in Helen, Georgia, at the end of April, 25, 26, and 27, I believe. I'm going to be playing as a special guest on the 16th of April with Tia Sellers at the 1865 Club. It's really a cool club here in Nashville. It's been here about 2 years now, and I'm doing a whole new thing with a couple of my buddies. Win Barble. I don't know if you know Win, but
I haven't met him yet, but yes, I know the name.
he is my oldest friend in Nashville, and Ray Van Hoy. We're doing a thing called Songman, and we're going to be out there doing casinos and all kinds of corporate stuff, and I'm just really excited about 26. It's going to be a great year. It's already started out a great year.
Well, Dave, I appreciate you doing this for us, man, hanging out and telling some stories and laughing a little bit. And, man, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you having me on, buddy.
Yeah, I'll get with the man about scheduling something in the future, too, for a part 2. There's still a lot to chat about.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of stories.
Hey, this is John Paycheck. Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.